When you first decide that you're going to get a divorce, one of the most important things you'll need to determine is whether or not your divorce is going to be contested or not. A contested divorce is where there are disagreements about important issues like property division or custody of the children. If the parties are able to come to a complete agreement as to how to handle the children issues, that would include child support, visitation, and custody, as well as the property division issues. If the parties have an agreement on all of those issues, then they can have an uncontested divorce. Uncontested divorces are a much preferred way to go, as they're going to be quicker, cheaper, and way less painful. With an uncontested divorce, normally there's only going to be one attorney involved. There's not going to be two attorneys, but just having one attorney, it's going to be cheaper. Two, the scope of work is going to be significantly less, which will make the process much more streamlined, and that'll allow us to get you divorced for a much lower cost. An uncontested divorce is still going to take at a minimum 60 days. However, normally we can get your divorce done in 60 to 90 days, and that's it. We get you in, you file your divorce, and you have one court date, you're in and out, and your divorce is over. Finally, it's way less painful. Divorce is a very difficult process. You're separating from this person you thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with. Now you're finding out that you're going to have to divide all of your property, and you're going to have to come to some sort of custody arrangement for your children. Normally there's hurt feelings involved, and normally people are not going to be getting along. Normally the disagreements about the property division and about the custody issues are going to increase that animosity between the parties. So if you're coming together where the two parties have reached an agreement before it even starts, you're going to find that that's a much easier, less painful process to deal with. Most divorces are going to unfortunately be contested divorces. A uncontested divorce is where the parties have an agreement on all issues, including how to divide the property and on all child-related issues such as custody, visitation, and child support. If you don't have an agreement with your spouse on all of those issues before you file, then you're going to have a contested divorce. It doesn't mean that you won't come to an agreement later. More than 90% of cases eventually settle before they reach a final trial. However, to get you to that final settlement is still part of what is considered a contested divorce. So if your spouse is unwilling to agree to a divorce on reasonable terms and to agree that the property should be divided in a fair way, or is wanting custody provisions that are not in the child's best interest, then unfortunately those are situations where you're going to need to have a contested divorce and go through the process a bit. You should never choose an uncontested divorce just because it's cheaper. It's oftentimes going to depend upon the stakes that you have. If for example, there is not very much property and you don't have kids, well, the stakes aren't that high, and obviously you don't want to spend a lot of money if there's not things that are worth fighting about. But if you're talking in a state of any significance where you own a house or retirement, those are important matters that you're going to want to make sure are protected, and you're going to want to make sure you get what's entitled to you, as well as if you have children in particular, you're going to want to make sure that your children's best interests are protected. The cost of legal fees are going to be very important to you making a decision as to how to proceed forward with your case. However, in the big picture, the importance of your estate and the importance of what's in your children's best interests is going to greatly outweigh the cost associated with the legal fees. If you have questions about an uncontested divorce or whether or not you need to be filing for a contested divorce, please give us a call at the Bayley Law Firm for a consultation today.